It's so fun to be filming again. Hi, I'm Angel, and if you're new here, I am a 25-year-old corporate baddie by day, content creator by night, trying to find the best of both worlds, navigating my 20s, which, as I'm sure you know, we're fighting for our lives out here. Tonight, I'm attending not one, but two networking events. I feel like this is like my worst nightmare coming true. Like, I get so nervous in networking situations, so I thought by chatting with you and getting ready together, I could get some of these jitters out of the way, because the last thing I want to do is embarrass myself tonight when I'm meeting with the big dogs. You know what I mean? So if you're any normal, sane person, you're probably wondering, why the hell would I start this professional video in my bathroom? But the truth of the matter is, when you look good, you feel great. And that's the first thing we're going to talk about. Now, if I have learned anything in my life, it's that the better you look, the better you feel. And when it comes to the realm and the space of networking, you're really building your reputation above anything else. Funny story, but when I was in 7th grade, what was that, 14 years ago, I had a teacher, his name was Mr. Furston, and he used to always tell us that you never get a second chance to make a first impression, because like that was his name, so it was like a play on words. For me, as a woman, first strike. As a young woman, as a Black woman, as an educated woman, and as a woman with a beautiful body and face to match her brains, I've always kind of felt like I stand out everywhere that I go. And it's just the truth. Like, in networking situations, I'm usually the youngest in the room. In my field, I'm usually the only woman in the room, and I'm definitely the only Black person in the space of the country in which I live. With that, with being someone who naturally stands out, it's a blessing and a curse, but people tend to notice me when I'm in a room, whether I want them to or not. And the biggest piece of advice that I can give you is that, well, life lesson number 1 of the video, perception is reality. Perception is credibility. So how people perceive you, the first impression that you make when you walk into a room, will not be forgotten. If you're on time, if you're late, if you look good, if you smell good, your first impression says more than you could ever say. The more polished and put together that I look, I know that my appearance will speak for itself. And you gotta take all the wins that you can get, especially as a young woman in corporate. There are so many misconceptions, and I don't wanna say rumors, but almost like preconceived thoughts that people have about us that we kind of have to prove everybody wrong. And the best way that you can do that is by showing up looking as your best self in every room, every day, every situation, because you never know who's there. And in the realm of networking, you genuinely don't know who you're talking to, who they know, and who they could be. And you can take this 2 ways. How many times have you judged someone before they even open their mouth? You subconsciously judge everyone based upon what your definition of success and reality is. We almost have to enter this space knowing that judgment is real, bias is real, and how do we overcome that bias and make it work for us? From what I have learned in my very extensive corporate lifetime is that your appearance is your nonverbal resume. How you look, how you enter the room, the energy that you bring is all stuff that people are perceiving about you before you even talk to them. Because you might walk in a room and you might start over here, and the people over here have already made up their preconceived notions about you. Or, better than that, your reputation is speaking for itself. As a retired 2016 makeup girly, I have always felt that the better I look, the more confident I feel, the better I present myself, the more confident I am, the less jitters I have. And before you even start, it's not about being vain, it's not about being cocky, it's about setting yourself up for success in the ways that we know how. We know that the way that we enter a room holds value. And for me, on top of just the makeup and the hair, I also like to challenge myself to wear bright colors, bright outfits, things that make me stand out in the room, because I know I'm going to be shy, I know I'm going to clam up, and I'm going to overthink, I'm going to be in my head. But if I'm wearing a bright green pantsuit, people are going to see me. Like, if I want them to see me or not, it doesn't matter. They will see me. The biggest message that I want to get across is that your appearance, your style, your charisma is a part of your personal brand. And you want to build your reputation to be consistent. You heard it from me first. Do with this information what you want to do, but you will never catch me looking any kind of way. So now that we've kind of talked about showing up as your best self, let's talk about what networking actually is. Because if you are new to being a corporate baddie, welcome, we're glad you're here, but you might be struggling to kind of understand and navigate the corporate space, probably because there's so much corporate lingo and it's not a very inclusive environment. It's okay, I'm gonna take some time to kind of break this down so you can actually use networking to your advantage and not see it as another corporate buzzword that means absolutely nothing to you. So, by definition, I'm gonna read it to you. Networking is the intentional act of building relationships that help you exchange knowledge, open opportunities, and grow professionally. That is like the corporate 101 way to tell you what networking is. But there's a whole bunch of shit they don't want you to know, and I'm gonna tell you. In my experience, I have always found that networking is less about like happy hour and chatting people up, and it's more about building genuine connections. Now, remember, I told you that networking is about building genuine connections, because when you are out there and you're talking to different people, you will be able to pick up on the people who are networking for their personal gain and not for yours. And you need to find the people who understand the game, but they want to give you just as much as they take. With anything in life, you can't take more than you give. You need to be willing and an active participant in everything that you do. And when you're a young person, let's say you're a college student or you're a recent grad, you are so desperate for a job that you are looking to meet people who will help you get a job, help you make connections. But me, for example, I am no longer an amateur. I am a corporate baddie now. And I am looking to make connections with people that will benefit the both of us long term. Not just, hey, are you hiring? Do you know where I can get a job? Thanks, bye. We're not doing that. Note to self, I do not like contour my forehead. But I saw a tutorial last night that I'm kind of going off of. So we will see how she ends up looking. From my perspective, networking is building a resume of connections versus just skills. And I've kind of broken it down into 5 key pieces of things that really matter to me when it comes to networking. So first, networking contributes directly to your social well-being. And if you're someone like myself who frequently goes to conferences and conventions in your field, the more people you know, the better. The less awkward you're going to be walking into rooms, because you're already going to know a lot of the faces in that room. And they're not just going to be people you're like, oh, hey, how are you? They're going to be genuine connections. Like, unfortunately, and as unfortunate as it is, we're not always going to work directly with the people who are going to have the biggest impacts on our lives. And the greatest value in networking that I found when I go to these conventions is like, shit, like, that's a great idea that I'm going to bring back to my company, and it's going to make me look good. It doesn't have to be my idea. I'm just the one bringing it to light here, and now everyone's going to think I'm this genius. Like, networking is all about ways to make yourself look good, but also contribute back. I'm going to keep saying that, because the last thing I want is for you to say I said something that I did not say. Networking also helps you to meet a variety of people in different levels of your field. And me, you will always catch me at the CEO table. No, I am always going to network up. I always want to know people's story and how they got from being an average Joe Schmo intern to being the director of the entire company. I want to poke the brain of the people in the room and let them know my interest. I think the best thing that you could ever do is let other people know your goals. Like, hey, like, I'm a young professional in the field, but I would love to know how you became a safety director. That is a goal of mine. And I'm doing all these things to try to get there. But what did you see? What did you experience that are things that I wouldn't know unless I experienced them myself? Tell me about, your experience in the field, how you got where you are, things that you love about your job, things that you wish were different. Just being transparent. And because of that, and because you will find yourself talking to people that you would never talk to on a regular basis, i.e. directors, CEO, presidents, vice presidents, global presidents, you're going to build your confidence up. Because sometimes you'll just start talking to somebody at a networking event and then be like, oh, like, I never got like what you do. Like, hi, I'm Angel. I'm an area safety director. What do you do? And they'll be like, hey, like, I'm actually the CEO of Disney. And you're like, oh shit, like, I was just chatting shit with the CEO of Disney. Like, you just never know who you're going to meet. And I love that. I find that so entertaining. And with that, it helps, as I mentioned before, to expand your visibility. The more people you know, the more connections you have, the more places your name is being mentioned. I met this great girl. Her name's Angel. She lives in Denver. And it goes from there, which I really, really hope that you are taking notes on this, because I'm giving you literally the blueprint to how I am in the top 5% for free. So now that we've talked about why networking is so important, let's talk about how we actually network. Because honestly, networking can be so intimidating, especially if you're new to the field, but most importantly, if you're someone who gets awkward in large crowds and unfamiliar spaces. I got you. So the first piece of advice that I have for networking is to practice in small spaces. It can be so intimidating to walk into your first professional conference where there are 10,000, 30,000 people at this event and you're trying to meet people and it's your first rodeo. Do not set yourself up for failure in anything that you do, but especially in key environments where you can meet life-changing people. So my advice is always to, when you're in college, when you're a young adult, join clubs, join sororities, join groups where you have to talk to people. You don't have to like talking to people. You just have to know how to talk to people. So many people think I'm the most outgoing and social person. And if I told you I would rather stay at home and talk to myself and read a book, would you believe me? No. And that's about my personal brand. My personal brand out here is Angel's a great resource. She's awesome to talk to. She knows so much. She's so knowledgeable. But here in my little circle, people know I'm not the one. Okay? People know. I'm going to give an example. So one thing that you'll find at many networking events is you'll end up at a table or a bar top or somewhere where you're either sitting alone or you join another group of people, which don't sit by yourself. Always sit with somebody. Even if it's somebody you already know, just try to put yourself out there. I think the best way to kind of spark those initial conversations with different people is to ask questions. Always lead with curiosity. Never come straight out of the field like, oh, I'm looking for a job and do you have any connection? Like, just be like, oh, like, hey, like, my name's so-and-so. Like, I just want to get to know you. Like, I've always been interested in that field. And it's always easier to jump onto something once you've kind of overheard what somebody does. Like, I always kind of like to do like the lurk and sway. Like when I come into somewhere, I go get my little drink, I get like my food. I just kind of like start listening to what groups of people I want to actually get in with. I don't just sit and plop. I'm kind of like, oh, like, hey, like mingling. And then once I hear conversations that start sound like money, I go and join them. And I'll be like, oh, like, hey, you're the CEO of Disney. That's so awesome. Like, I love the parks. You're doing great work. Tell me about this. You kind of want to gas people up in a way that they want to come talk about themselves before you start talking about yourself. Does that make sense? You know why? Because we always like to talk about ourselves. We don't always like to listen about other people. That's just the society that we live in. From that and from what they say, that's how your conversation should go. And you should start asking more questions. As a young professional specifically, make your lack there of experience kind of known. Oh, like, this is my first convention. I'm so excited. I just graduated from college. It's so exciting to be here. You want to be fresh-eyed and bushy-tailed, because as a young professional, you're never going to become a professional if you don't let people know that you want to learn from them. So I always advise you to ask questions. Ask for advice, not favors. Ask people, hey, like, you know, I've been thinking about getting my certification. Like, I noticed that you have yours. Like, do you think it's valuable? Do you think you learned a lot? Ask people to talk about themselves and be a sponge. Networking as a young professional is a lot different from a seasoned professional. Right now, I'm in the point in my career where I'm letting everybody know what I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, I'm working towards this, I'm working towards that. Like, things are great. But I'm not like a naive young professional. I want people to know, like, hey, I'm serious business, but not too serious, you know what I'm saying? I think, like, as a seasoned professional, I feel a lot more willing to help younger professionals, and really anybody in general, when I can be helpful versus them begging me for a lead or a connection. If I could say, oh, hey, like, I know somebody who's hiring for that role. I heard you're just out of college. You should reach out to this person. That makes me feel helpful without feeling like, well, who the hell are you? Why am I giving you a lead? Like, you want people to feel like comfortable in your space where people want to help you. You don't want to feel like you're bragging or overselling yourself, because then it's like almost awkward. It's like, okay, oh, cool. Like, you don't want to be like in those situations. And The key to this game is having your elevator speech ready to go. You want to be able to introduce yourself in under 30 seconds. You want to be able to hit the key points of who you are and what you do without dragging on into your life story. I am someone where in the corporate space, I don't like people to know too much about me. Actually, I like to stick to the same 5 or 6 topics every single time I'm in a group setting. Now, for me, because I know I do this, every time I'm with somebody, they follow up on the same topics I already know, and it works great. I don't have to come up with something. Worst case scenario, I say, oh, did you see the game last night? And it doesn't even matter what game, someone will start talking about something. A really big key to this networking game is how you make people feel. I feel like how you make people feel is what will be discussed about you when you're not in the room. When you're an asshole, you want to tell everybody else, like when you come across an asshole or a rude person or someone who you don't like at work, those are always the people whose names are being talked about. You want to be that person who's like, oh, I love Angel. She's so fun. She's so helpful. Every time I need something from her, she's quick to get it back for me. That's what you want people saying about you. You don't want people creating their own narrative. You want to control the narrative. Now, I feel like I just said a lot, so let me ask you something. When do you feel like is the best time to network? Is it after you land your dream job? Is it when you're looking for a new job? Is it when you're desperate and you needed to find a new opportunity? Is it when you finally decided that you're confident enough in yourself to start advocating for yourself? It's really just a trick question. The best time to network is before you need anything. You don't start networking when, you start networking before the when, before the if, before the how. Networking is just making genuine connections, and you really can't make a genuine connection with someone when you need something from them before you've even met them. If you go to the networking event knowing you're only there because you got laid off and you need to now make connections to get a job, it's gonna feel forced. So if you're ever thinking, well, I'm in my dream job now, why do I need a network? You're doing it wrong. Networking isn't about what benefits you. Sometimes it's just laying the foundation for relationships that might benefit you in the long run. I feel like networking is hard because it almost gets to the point where you don't even really know when you're supposed to be doing it. Like, what does networking really look like in a more organic situation versus at a conference or convention? I have had people reach out to me on LinkedIn to connect, and they'll say, hey, I found your profile. I'd love to connect with you and learn more about what you do, or, you know, things like that. It can honestly be as simple as meeting somebody and being like, hey, like, it was so fun chatting today. Like, I'd love to have more time to talk with you one-on-one. Do you want to connect over coffee? Are you able to set up a Zoom if you don't live in the same area? Honestly, the best piece of advice is to just live your life like you're always networking or always interviewing for the next thing. Because the truth is, you just don't know. In this economy with these layoffs, you just don't know. So it's best to always be on everybody's mind fresh. It's best, in my opinion, I think it's the greatest time to network after you've updated something on LinkedIn. You know, you post your little LinkedIn, oh my God, everybody congratulate me post. That's a great time when people start commenting to be like, hey, like, thank you so much for congratulating me. How are things going with you? I'd love to catch up over coffee, over tea, you know, blah, 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 blah. Things like that. Like, I just think you need to find ways to just make things more organic, you know? I want to circle back around to that question about what your elevator pitch is, because I feel like I didn't really touch on it enough. An elevator speech, in short, is basically summarizing who you are in 30 seconds or less. So you really want to hit the key talking points, which is who you are, what do you do, and where you're going. I always love to tell people like, yeah, I just got started in this field. I'm so excited to learn more about X, Y, and Z. You want to think of it as giving people your highlight reel, not the YouTube video. Like, you're showing them a short. You're not showing them a 30-minute vlog. And the reason for this is because you don't want to talk too much about yourself. It's more of like a mutual, like, you present yourself to somebody and you say, this is me, what about you? And they tell you about them, and you guys kind of mutually decide if you're feeling each other, if there's ways you could benefit each other. It's kind of like, scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. We're going to start with number 1, who are you? Start with your name, your role, your identity. Like, hi, my name is Angel. I am a content creator on the platforms Adulting with Angel. And then that's me. Boom. What do you do? A brief summary of what you do, why you do it. You really want to bring to the conversation what value you offer. I create videos online to help young adults who might not have the resources that I had growing up. Simple. Like, what do you do it? I love creating content. I love filming videos. I love talking about experiences that I've had so people can either have the same ones or maybe do something a little bit differently. Lastly, you kind of want to showcase like where you're going or something unique about you that people remember you by. You know, like you kind of want to wrap it all up and throw it back, regurgitate it back to them. I just feel like this shows like an ambition or an opening for an actual conversation. Give people like a little bit about you so they can kind of grab onto something in their response. I think if you don't give people enough information, they're never gonna like be able to keep a conversation with you. And I think that's where I really struggle when I'm not working with people, is sometimes I feel like people are talking to me and I'm just like, okay. So for me, there's a lot of lessons learned that I have experienced, been told, got to experience for myself. Last July, when I was at my annual convention, there was a lot of talk about how people don't like doing mentor or menteeships because they always feel one-sided. As a young professional, you want to be open to learning, but you don't want to just take and not give. And I feel like as a mentor, I learn a lot about my leadership style and skill set when I'm working with young professionals. So to me, when I'm working with a young professional, helping them find their goals, find their passions, find their spark, to me, I'm not really building a connection with them maybe for a job or connection similar to maybe what you're looking for, but I'm looking for things like, you know, ways to build my portfolio, strengthen my soft skills, my communication skills, does that make sense? Like, I'm not looking for this 18-year-old college student intern to change my life, but I want to make sure that I'm learning things from them because, unfortunately, I'm getting to the point in my life where I'm becoming to be the old lady in the room. Like, there are young people who are learning new things and have new ideas, and as a mentor, I want to learn from you. I want to learn from you. I want to know your experiences, what you're experiencing. Because as a leader, I want to take that and say, hey, like this is what interns and applicants are experiencing. Can we make changes? Can we do things better? Is there a way to do things better? As a young professional, as a mentee, as someone wanting to learn, you need to bring that value with you. You need to bring questions. You need to bring, you know, scenarios and potentials and excitement, because without that, it really just feels one-sided. And it's like, if I already am working a 9 to 5, maybe 60 hours a week, and now you're just asking me questions that directly benefit you and your career, but you're not learning about me and asking about me, then I'm not going to really see the benefit. That's what I said. And that was like the biggest thing, is people are like, yeah, like I entered into all these menteeships, but it's only with people who want a job, need a job now. And then once they get the job, once you've helped someone, once someone has helped you, you just ghost them. And I feel like it's so important to just follow up and be like, hey, like I'm so grateful that you helped me with this, like XYZ, but that's just what I know. Another piece of advice, maybe if you're not a young professional, but you know, you are younger, because, you know, we're just girls. I think it's always of value to you to never get too comfortable where you are and to always be networking and keeping your options open. I think I told you guys about the lady who I met who works in Japan who basically offered me a job. And I was like, oh, like this is literally like my dream, but I'm not ready to take that step right now. You know, thank you for even seeing that potential in me to have this conversation, for starters. I have a lot of friends who either lose their jobs or been laid off, and it's like they're struggling to make connections and find jobs. And, you know, we live in different places. If we lived in the same place, you know, I would already hook them up. But it's like we live in a time where we are very take, and there's nothing that we're giving. That's going to catch up with us very soon. The fact that we want everyone to do something for us. And I think now that we are kind of heading into a recession and we're seeing more layoffs and tariffs, you know, that genuine, authentic connection means more than anything now, because now it's not even about your qualifications. Everybody's qualified. If they just laid off all the tech engineers at Google, they're going to look for jobs too. Like, they're not just disappearing. And I think for us, in the next stage of your career, the next stage of your career is going to come from who you know. Because right now, with the way that AI is filtering our resumes, and we're not even getting our resumes reviewed by actual people, they're going through computers, you need someone actually breathing and alive to vouch on your behalf. And sometimes all you need is like a step in the right direction. You don't even need the door to be open all the way. Sometimes you just need somebody to crack the door open for you. And that's what networking is all about. But yeah. I have been working since I was about 13, 14. And I got my first official job when I was 15. I used to do bathing suit sales for Jolin Clothing, one of my absolute favorite bathing suits. To this day, I probably have owned over 250 of their bathing suits over the last 15 years. As a little kid, networking and in sales, I've learned how to read people and I've learned how to market myself. I've learned that sometimes you have to fit the role that might not be the most comfortable for you, but that might get you the furthest. I like to say I'm not a very outgoing person in truth, but sometimes you just have to fake it till you make it in this world. You have to be comfortable advocating for yourself, otherwise you're not going to get anywhere. If you're too shy to speak up on your own behalf, then someone louder will take the opportunity from you. And as women, we have to have our own backs. We can't be the first person giving up on us. We have to always advocate for ourselves, and we have to advocate for other women. So tonight, my networking event is women only, or people who want to support women. So I'm really excited because I feel the most comfortable around women for obvious reasons, but we're locked in. And I feel like I am always looking for women who want to be better, because I feel like if someone wants for something in this life and they're willing to go after it, those are the people I want in my circle. So I'll be honest, the people I actually will be close with is always going to be a very small group. Now remember this, if I ever teach you anything, it's that not everybody wants to see you win. Sometimes people see an ambitious Black woman and they're like, no. And although that's frustrating, that's the truth. Sometimes people see your ambition and your goals as a threat. And those are not rooms that I personally like to be in. Perfect example of this is my boss, a woman, an amazing woman. She, see that? My boss, she supports me so much, so down bad that it makes me want to be better. And every time, I tell her my goals and where I want to be in my future, I never get a oh from her. I always get, that's awesome. This is what we need to do to get you there. How do we get you there? What do you need from us? What do you need from me as your leader? I like to think that as young professionals, we're really just young leaders and we're the next leaders. And I just want you to keep those things in mind when you're out in the field, that I want to see you be great. Me, Angel. But the people you come across in this world, not everyone has your best interests at heart, and that's okay. And sometimes you might feel like you're in rooms where you keep shouting and screaming your praises and what you want and no one is listening to you. And this goes further than networking. This goes to just being a woman. Never be scared to walk out of the room. Never be scared to walk away from opportunities and people who don't see your value. And I'm not saying to do it out of spite and out of anger. In this economy, we all need money. Don't just quit your job because you think that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that don't let a couple bad fruits ruin the whole basket, okay? Don't let one bad networking experience put you off from networking as a whole. Don't let one negative person ruin everything for you. My best friend and I, we had a conversation recently about how she no longer feels comfortable sharing her goals and aspirations with the world because she just feels like people don't have her best interest. She's like, yeah, I feel like sometimes people are jealous of me and people don't want to see me win, and that's 100% the truth. They don't want to see you win. I always say that. They don't want to see you winning. They want to see you win a penitentiary. You guys have to understand, when I'm giving you this advice, I'm giving it to you as your sister, as your friend, as your cousin. When you go out these doors and you leave this video and you're motivated, you're inspired to take the world by storm, not everybody wants to see the change and the light that you're going to bring to the room. So just be careful out there, because haters are annoying, but they're part of life. And I don't want to see your light get dimmed. When I was an intern and I got my first job at a college, I had my master's degree, mind you. I had this guy basically tell me, you're a woman, no one cares about you, no one's going to listen to you, you're fresh out of college, you're 20, you don't know anything. And when I tell you, I packed up my shit from there. I moved across the country and I found a place and an environment that values me and who I am. That's what I can recommend to all my little girls out there. This makeup look, for starters, is gonna be added to my vault. If there's one thing that you take away from this video, I hope it's that networking isn't just about getting ahead. Sometimes it's about planting the seeds that need to grow over time. And I feel like I tell you guys this all the time, but if it's not helping you grow, it's gotta go. And that applies here. Networking, it's about showing up, it's about being seen, and it's about being heard. It's about being visible, it's about being memorable. You want people to remember you when you leave the room. The best way to do that is to always follow back up. Always send a hey on LinkedIn, a text, an email. It was awesome connecting with you. Thank you so much for taking the time to get to know me today. Those are so valuable, especially amongst people of higher power. People who have busier schedules. They're going to remember your appreciation and respect towards them. It's going to go a long way. More importantly, you don't need to know all the right people today. I feel like a lot of times as a young adult, especially if you're anything like I was when I was fresh out of college, I was so ambitious. I wanted to change the entire world in like the first 6 months of graduating from college. Not to say that it's impossible. Worked for me. But I don't want you to burn yourself out. You just have to show up as someone valuable and someone worth knowing and meet the right people. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. Just keep showing up. Keep advocating for yourself. And remember, you don't have to be the loudest in the room to be seen and to be heard. And a lot of times, men are the loudest in the room because they're bigger and their confidence is a little different. Just always be ready. Always be ready to grow. Always be ready to meet somebody. Always be on your guard. In this world of adulting and finding who we are in our 20s, in our late teens, in our 30s, it's all about finding the right connections that will bridge the gap from where you are now and where you want to go. And remember, for my shy girlies like myself, it is okay to be the loudest person in the room. It is okay to advocate for yourself. It is okay to be intentional. Your voice matters and it deserves to be heard, so let people hear you, okay? Don't stand in the corner. People want to know your ideas. And more importantly, make sure no one's stealing your ideas, because I've heard some weird ass shit going down. As always, you are a powerful woman who's going to change the world. You have to believe in yourself though. All these tips and all these tricks can't help you if you don't believe that you have the power to do it yourself. So I'm proud of you. I'm excited for you. Don't be nervous. It's going to be okay. If you have questions, if you have experiences that you don't know how to handle, bring them my way. I'm your big sis. I'll protect you. I'll figure things out for you. But until then, good luck. I am going to get ready for this event and I will see you guys next week with another video. Bye guys.